Welcome, everybody, to the Daily Packers Post, where we give you in-depth daily coverage of your Green Bay Packers every day, Monday through Friday, all year long. I'm Gil Martin. Great to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button so you never miss an episode of our podcast. Well, today we are going to talk about three positions that the Packers must address in the 2025 NFL Draft. And, there's different reasons for these positions being addressed, but overall, these are priority positions, not just positions that the team needs to take a round 6 or 7 flyer on. Number one is the interior offensive line, which comes in at third on this list. The big reason Josh Myers likely to hit unrestricted free agency next month unless he agrees on a new deal with the Green Bay Packers, and that leaves a hole in the middle of the offensive line. Now, you do have Jacob Monk, Elton Jenkins, Sean Ryan, Zach Tom, all of whom are capable of playing center, but with the exception of Monk, I don't think you want to disrupt the offensive line so much by moving those guys. I mean, Jenkins is your best guard. Zach Tom, your best offensive tackle. He's going to want to be paid by as a tackle, even if you move him to center. It just doesn't make sense. So you need to fill that gap, a starter at center, or if you end up moving either Ryan or Jenkins over, then you need a starting guard. So there's that. And then obviously there is a problem with depth at this position. We saw that in the playoff game against the Eagles when Elton Jenkins got hurt. In came Travis Glover, in came Kadeem Telford, and boy, was the absence of Jenkins noticeable. I mean, the Eagles already have one of the more dominant defensive lines in the league, but boy, oh boy, the lack of depth hurt the Packers in that playoff game, which was close up until the fourth quarter and the end of the game. So interior offensive line definitely on the list at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is cornerback. And again, this has a lot to do with guys who are probably leaving. We do not know for sure what the status of Jaire Alexander is going to be, but each passing day seems to make it clearer he is not likely to be back in a Packers uniform in 2025. Alexander and the team just don't seem to be on the same page. The organization seems to want him to play through some injuries a little bit more. Alexander just does not seem to think he's going to be back based on what he said when he was cleaning out his locker after the playoff loss. So clearly there is a need here if Alexander leaves, and former first-round pick Eric Stokes, his contract is also up. If Stokes leaves, you need to add depth. So right now you have Carrington Valentine and Keyshawn Nixon as your starters on the perimeter, with Javon Bullard being the top slot guy. I don't think, look, no disrespect to Valentine or Nixon, especially considering what Nixon said when he was cleaning out his locker, where he basically said, I don't want to return kicks anymore. I want to be cornerback 1, and cornerback 1 doesn't return kicks. I am not sure that Nixon is the kind of shutdown elite cornerback 1 that the Packers have when Alexander is healthy. And I know he hasn't been healthy enough lately, but you need that shutdown corner. And whether the Packers get it in free agency, via a trade, or the draft, you need to fortify this position, especially if Alexander and Stokes leave. And here's the other thing, and we know this to be a fact. Brian Gutekunst, when the team has a need at a position, he usually takes multiple players and adds them. Whether it was drafting Rashawn Gary the very same year he signed Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith as unrestricted free agents. Whether it's drafting, multiple offensive linemen in a year, 2 or 3, or multiple edge rushers in a draft. We've seen this formula multiple times, and I think cornerback, again, it may not all come in the draft, but in a combination of the draft, free agency, and trades, we're going to see multiple cornerbacks added to the mix. Last year, it was safety that we saw multiple players added to the mix, a free agent, 2 draft picks. Again, I look at cornerback as a big position of need. And then the other one is edge rusher. That's coming in right now at number 1. The front 4 last year struggled to pressure the quarterback just when you rush the regular 4 guys. So Jeff Hafley had to end up doing blitzes and stunts. More often than not, he would still only rush 4, but one of the linemen would drop back, one of the linebackers or the slot corner or a safety would blitz, and you try to disguise things and create stunts and get pressure on the quarterback. And that was not the way Hafley ideally wanted the defense to run. So Jason Reprovich, the defensive line coach of a year ago, he was let go in part because the team wasn't happy with the progress of their pass rush from the defensive line. Rashawn Gary led the team with 7.5 sacks. That was down from 9 the other year in 2023. And no other edge rusher had more than 4.5 sacks. And here, you've got Kingsley Enagbare, who is a very useful rotational player. Brenton Cox Jr., who definitely showed some juice after Preston Smith was traded. He had 4 sacks in the last 7 games, but those 7 games is more or less everything he's done playing defense in his NFL career. Can he take the next step? Could he become a starter and a really good pass rusher? I think the tools are there, but he hasn't proven it. And just to sit back and rely on that, well, I think that would be a mistake. And then obviously Lucas Van Ness, who is the first round pick in 2023. He had 3 sacks last season. He had 4 in his rookie year, and he just needs to play better. He just needs to develop more pass rush moves, which we haven't seen from him over the course of recent, years. He has that bull rush, but does he have a swim move? Does he have an outside move? We need to see more from Van Ness. Hopefully the coaching change will help, but overall, the Packers need to upgrade their pass rush from the front 4, especially on the edge. And I think, again, Brian Gutekunst will use, whether it's a trade, free agency, or multiple draft picks, more than one player is going to get added to this mix over the course of this offseason so the Packers can improve these areas that I'm talking about. So, again, check out our website at thepackerspost.com for daily articles Monday through Saturday on your Green Bay Packers. And again, we're here every day, Monday through Friday on YouTube, bringing you in-depth coverage of the Packers here on the Daily Packers Post. I'm Gil Martin. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, go Pack Go.